My name is Seth. I am 14 years old in this story, and what I watched happen on a laptop screen one Saturday night in 2010 is something I spent years trying to convince myself was not real. I am not trying to convince myself anymore. If you watch true scary stories late at night, you already know that feeling. The one where you finish a video and you just sit there for a minute in the dark. That is where this one leaves you, I promise you that. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from tonight. And keep your volume up, because you need to hear this clearly. It was the fall of 2010, and I was in 8th grade. ChatRoulette had been around for about a year at that point, and my friends and I had discovered it the way 14-year-old boys discover most things. Somebody at school mentioned it, somebody else said it was insane, and within a week we all had opinions on it. My friend Peter had come over on a Saturday. My mom was home downstairs, but we were upstairs in my room with the door closed and the laptop open. We were being exactly as stupid as you would expect. We would get matched with someone, say something rude or weird, throw them off, laugh at their reaction, and skip, over and over, for about an hour. It was dumb and unkind, and I am not proud of it, but I want to be honest about where our heads were that night. We were not being careful. We were not paying close attention. We were just messing around. Then a girl came up on screen. She looked around 16 or 17. The camera quality was not great. The image had that low-resolution, blurry quality that a lot of laptop webcams had in 2010. She was sitting at a desk in what looked like a bedroom. The room behind her was dim lit, mostly by a blue light from somewhere off camera. Maybe a TV, maybe a second monitor. I could not tell exactly. There was clutter everywhere. Clothes on the floor, stuff on shelves, a bed pushed into the far corner of the room behind her. Peter and I said something rude. I do not remember exactly what. Something mocking the way only 14-year-old boys who think they are funny can be mocking. She rolled her eyes. She called us little dweebs or something like that and looked like she was about to skip. Then Peter said something that stopped everything. He said, "Who is that behind you?" I looked at the screen. I looked at the space behind the girl, the corner with the bed, the shadows around the shelves. I did not see anything. I assumed Peter was doing the bit, the classic fake out. Pretend someone is behind the stranger on screen, watch them freak out, laugh about it. We had done it twice already that night to other people. This was the same thing. The girl did not look immediately. She called him out on it. Said something like, "Sure, very funny, classic move." Peter said he was serious. He was not smiling. I looked at Peter and he was not smiling. I looked back at the screen. The girl had turned around to look, and she turned back and said she did not see anything. The room behind her was just the room, the bed in the corner, the clutter, the shadows. Peter said he saw someone behind the bed. I looked very carefully at the back wall of her room, and then I saw it. There was movement near the floor behind her bed, slow and low and deliberate, a shape coming up from behind the far side of the mattress. Not fast, careful, the kind of movement that belongs to someone who has been hiding and waiting and is now deciding it is time to stop hiding. My stomach dropped. I told the girl there was actually someone back there. I said it fast. I said it looked like maybe her brother was trying to scare her. She turned around again. This time she looked harder. And then she screamed, not a surprise scream, not the kind of scream you make when someone jumps out and says, "Boo!" The kind of scream that happens before your brain catches up with what your body already understands. She pushed back from the desk so hard her chair rolled sideways and she ended up half on the desk itself, scrambling backward, her legs kicking out at whatever was coming toward her. We could hear things falling, books hitting the floor, something made of glass. The webcam shook because the desk was shaking. She was still screaming. Saying, "Stop," saying no, saying other words I could not make out because everything was happening at once. Peter and I were completely silent. The man came into frame. He had been fully behind the bed before. Now he was upright and moving toward her, and we could see him clearly for just a moment before everything descended into chaos. He was wearing a black ski mask, full coverage, just eye holes and a mouth hole. Dark clothes, adult-sized. He was not small. He grabbed her, both hands, and he said something. He kept saying it. "Shut up, shut up, shut up." And her screams just got louder, and the webcam was shaking and tilting, and we were watching all of it in real time on a laptop in my bedroom on a Saturday night in October. Then the man looked directly into the webcam. He turned and looked straight at the camera for about 2 or 3 seconds. Directly into it, through it, like he knew we were watching, like he wanted us to know that he knew. The screen went dark. It did not skip to another user. The connection did not transfer. The screen just went dark, like someone had reached over and closed the laptop on the other end. Peter and I sat there. I do not know how long we sat there before either of us said anything. It felt like a long time. We talked ourselves through it. There was a whole genre of prank video at the time where people would do staged scenarios on ChatRoulette specifically to get reactions from strangers. It was a real thing. People did it all the time. Fake fights, fake accidents, fake scenes designed to look real and be recorded. We had seen a few of them ourselves. We went back and forth. It could have been staged. The timing was good. The man in the mask appeared at exactly the right moment. Maybe it was all set up. Maybe she was in on it. Maybe the scream was practiced. We kept coming back to one detail, though. The moment when the man turned and looked at the camera. It did not feel like the look of a performer acknowledging his audience. It felt like the look of a person calculating, seeing a problem, deciding what to do about it. Peter went home that Sunday. We texted a couple of times over the next few days. We did not bring it up. I do not think either of us wanted to make it real by discussing it. Then Peter texted me on a Wednesday night. He sent me a link without any message. No context, just a link. It was a local news article, 2 counties away from where we lived. A teenage girl, 16 years old, had been found dead in her home. She had been home alone. The article did not have many details. It mentioned the date. It mentioned the county. It mentioned that investigators were looking into the circumstances. The date was the Saturday night that we had been on ChatRoulette. I read that article 3 times. Then I called Peter. We told our parents that same night. Both sets of parents called each other and decided we needed to talk to someone official. A few days later, we sat down with 2 investigators in a room at the local police station. We described everything we had seen: the girl, the room, the blue light, the bed in the corner, the man coming up from behind it, the black ski mask, the moment he looked at the camera, the timestamp as best we could remember it. The investigators took notes. They asked us questions. They were careful not to confirm or deny anything directly. Standard procedure, my dad said afterward. We never heard back from them. We never found out if what we gave them helped. We never found out if the case was connected to what we saw. I have looked for that news article many times since then. I can never find the same one again. I do not know if it was taken down or if I am just not finding the right search terms. I do not know if that means anything. What I know is that a girl screamed on a webcam in front of us, and a man in a black mask told her to shut up, and then someone reached over and closed the laptop. And 4 days later, Peter sent me a link about a dead girl. I was 14. I am not 14 anymore. And I still think about those 2 or 3 seconds when he looked at the camera. The second story. My name is Nathan, and I was 17 when this happened. Everybody in my grade had an opinion about the dark web in 2011. Some people said it was genuinely terrifying. Some people said it was completely overblown and boring. The debate went back and forth constantly. I wanted to settle it for myself. I wanted to be clear about what I thought I was doing. I thought I was being curious and moderately brave. I thought I was going to look at some weird forums, get mildly unsettled, and come back with a story to tell. I downloaded the Tor browser on a winter night when my parents were watching TV downstairs. I sat at my desk in my room with my laptop open and my door closed, and I started looking. Tor is a browser that routes your connection through a series of anonymous servers, which is what allows you to visit websites on the dark web. The sites there do not show up on Google. They use a special domain ending. The whole thing loads slowly because of the way the connections are routed. You sit and wait a lot. I found a page with a long list of links, hundreds of them. No descriptions, just links. I scrolled for a while and eventually clicked one at random. It loaded slowly and took me to another list of links. This page had a black background and the links were in red text. No explanations, no labels, just links. I scrolled until I found one that appeared to lead to a chat room. I clicked it. The loading screen sat there for almost 2 minutes before anything appeared. Then a chat interface loaded. Dark background, white text, 3 other users in the room. The chat log went back days, mostly just links posted without comment. Nobody talking to anyone. I put in a random username and sat there. One of the other users sent me a message. Just to me, not in the main chat, a direct message. The username was something like U157 or a similar random string. The message asked what I was looking for. I thought about it for a second. Then I typed that I was looking for the darker parts of the dark web. I know, I was 17 and I thought that was a cool thing to say. The user went quiet for about a minute. Then they posted a link. No label, no explanation, just the link. I asked what it led to. They did not answer. About 30 seconds later, they signed out of the chat. Now it was just me and one other user who had not said anything since I arrived. I stared at the link. I clicked it. It took even longer to load than everything else had. Over 2 minutes of just the loading icon spinning. I was about to give up and close the browser when the page finally appeared. Black background, a banner image across the top. The image was of a living room, ordinary looking, couch coffee table lamp in the corner. But in the center of the coffee table, there was something drawn, a large red symbol, the kind of angular geometric symbol you associate with occult imagery. It had been drawn or painted directly onto the table, or it was a photograph of something that had been there for a while. Below the banner was a wall of text in a language I did not recognize. I still do not know what it was with certainty. The characters were not Latin. They looked like they could have been Hebrew, but I do not actually know Hebrew, and I cannot say for sure. Beside the text, there were buttons, also labeled in the same unreadable characters. I clicked one of the middle buttons. A chat room loaded. Same kind of dark interface. The chat log was already full of messages in the same unreadable language. Long chains of it scrolling up the screen. And then I saw my name. In the middle of a block of unreadable characters, 2 words in English. My first name and my last name. Together. In a chat log I was reading on the dark web for the first time in my life, from a room in my house that nobody else could see into. My first thought was that it was a coincidence, that it was someone else with my name, that the universe happened to produce my exact full name in a string of random text. I did not believe that thought even as I was having it. Then my mouse started to lag. I tried to move the cursor toward the close button. It moved slowly, like the computer was suddenly running through water. I clicked and nothing happened. The loading circle appeared and then vanished without doing anything. Then someone in the chat posted a picture. It took a second to load because the connection was slow. It was a photo of me, sitting at my desk, in my room, right now, at that exact moment. The photo had clearly been taken through my own webcam. I could see the edge of my desk in the corner of the frame. I could see the shelving unit behind me that I had had in my room since middle school. I could see my own face looking in the laptop screen with an expression that I now recognized as the expression I had been making about 20 seconds earlier when I first saw my name in the chat log. Someone had accessed my webcam without my knowledge and was photographing me in real time. Another photo appeared. Still me. Different angle of my face. Current. Then another. I was watching myself be photographed in real time. Frame after frame appearing in the chat. My face, my desk, my room. Proof that something on the other end of this connection could see me and was choosing to show me that it could see me. I tried to close the browser again. The mouse dragged and clicked and nothing happened. The computer made the error sound, the one that means the system is refusing the input. I held the power button down. 10 seconds. 15. The laptop screen flickered and finally went black. I sat at a dark desk in a dark room for a minute without moving. My heart was going fast in the way it goes when your body has decided something is wrong, even though your brain has not finished processing what happened yet. I left the laptop off for the rest of that night and most of the next day. Before I turned it back on, I put a piece of masking tape over the webcam. It has been covered ever since. I am not exaggerating. Every laptop I have owned since then has had the webcam covered on day one. I deleted the Tor browser and never reinstalled it. The question I cannot answer, the one that still bothers me when I think about it, is how that chat log already had my name in it before I arrived. The log went back days, messages from multiple days before I ever found that page. Before I ever clicked that link that a stranger had sent me in a chat room I had stumbled into for the first time. My name was in that log before I got there. I do not have an explanation for that. I have thought about it for years and I have never come up with one that I actually believe. The third story. My name is Kyle and I was 12 years old, and this one is about a Nintendo DS. I grew up in a neighborhood where my street dead-ended about a block from the main town strip. Restaurants, a couple of pubs, a pharmacy, the usual. It was a walkable distance from my house, and I went there constantly as a kid. There was a specific spot I liked, a small square between two storefronts with a few benches set into the pavement, surrounded by shrubs and a couple of old trees. It was slightly recessed from the main sidewalk, quiet, well lit enough from the storefronts. My friend Carl and I would go there with our Nintendo DCs and play Pokemon for hours. The Nintendo DS, for anyone who grew up after this era, had a built-in feature called PictoChat. It was a local chat room. Any DS within range could connect to it and exchange messages. You could type with a keyboard on the touchscreen or draw freehand with the stylus. It had a range of a few dozen feet, maybe up to 60 or 70 in open air on a good day. Carl and I used PictoChat to talk to each other when we were sitting right next to each other, which was stupid and fun in the way that only makes sense when you are 12. One night in early fall, we were at our usual spot, not playing Pokemon that evening, just messing around on PictoChat, drawing dumb pictures, sending each other jokes, being 12. The air had started to get that early autumn feeling, cool enough to notice but not cold. The leaves in the shrubs nearby were moving a little from the wind picking up. Then the tone played. If you had a DS, you know the sound. The little 2-note ping that played when someone new joined the chat room. The screen showed a message now entering Joe. Carl and I looked at each other and grinned. Someone nearby had joined our chat. That was always exciting in a dumb way at that age. We looked around the square to see if we could spot another kid with a DS somewhere. The storefronts were lit up, but the edges of the space were darker. We could not see anyone obvious. I typed, "Hey Joe," with my stylus. The response came back as keyboard text, not stylus. clean and typed. Hey, Carl typed, "Where are you?" Joe typed back, "I see you." We looked at each other. That was a strange response. We looked around again. The benches across from us were empty. The path to the street was visible and no one was coming in. I could not see anyone with a DS anywhere nearby. Joe sent another message. "You guys come here a lot, don't you?" That was a different feeling than just saying, "Hey." That was familiarity. That was someone telling us they had noticed us before. I switched to keyboard and typed, "Who are you and where are you?" Joe sent a drawing. It was a stylish drawing, freehand rough, but recognizable. Some kind of rounded, lumpy shape, fluffy at the edges. I stared at it. My first guess was a cloud. I typed, "Is that a cloud?" Joe typed back, "No." Guess again. I typed, "Why?" Joe typed back, "It's where I'm hiding." Carl and I looked at each other. Carl yelled out loud into the air around us. He said, "Who's out there?" His voice bounced off the storefronts and went quiet. No one responded from the street. A couple walking on the main sidewalk looked over at us briefly and kept walking. I looked back at the DS and Joe had sent another drawing. The same shape as before, but more detailed. Rounder, thicker. Leaves suggested at the edges. Carl and I both looked at the shrubs. Not the low decorative shrubs near the storefronts. The large ornamental bushes that line the back of the seating area. The ones right up against the building wall behind our bench. Full and dense and dark behind the lit edge. Carl said, "I think it's a bush." And from somewhere immediately behind us there was a sound. A quiet laugh. Low and close. Less than 10 feet away. Closer than anyone should have been without us knowing they were there. We both went still. I remember the feeling of needing to turn around and not wanting to turn around at the same time. The conflict between the instinct to look and the instinct that said looking would confirm something you are not ready to confirm. Carl turned first. His eyes focused on something behind me. I turned around. A man was standing up from behind the large bush directly at my back, rising slowly, unfolding to full height in the dark behind the bench. He was tall, well over 6 feet. He was looking down at us as he stood. He was smiling, the kind of smile where the teeth are small and the gums are very prominent, and the expression takes up too much of the face. A smile that did not reach anywhere else. He had a DS in his hand. He had been sitting crouched behind that bush, hidden in it, using a Nintendo DS to chat with two 12-year-old boys who had no idea he was there, sending drawings, answering questions, and waiting. He reached down and put both hands on my shoulders. Not gently, he gripped them, hard, his fingers pressed down with weight behind them, the kind of grip that communicates that you are not in control of this situation. I screamed. We both ran, off the bench and across the square, and onto the sidewalk toward the street where our bikes were locked. I could hear footsteps behind us, heavy and close, the sound of someone moving fast on pavement. I did not look back. I got on the bike and pushed as hard as I could, and Carl was right next to me. And we rode for the main road where the streetlights were and where the restaurants were still open and there were other people around. When I finally turned to look back, he was not behind us anymore. We rode straight to my house and told my parents everything. My mom called Carl's parents. My dad walked us through what happened step by step and wrote it down. He called the police that same night and filed a report. They drove through the area but found nothing. Carl and I were not allowed to go to the town strip at night after that. Carl's parents put the same restriction on him. Honestly, it did not matter. I would not have gone back to that spot at night regardless. There is one thought I have never been able to shake since that night. The DS had to be within range to connect to our chat room. 60 to 70 feet at most, probably less. He was close enough to see us on that bench and to hear us talking. He had been there crouched behind that bush for however long it took to see us arrive, get settled, take out our DSS open Picto chat, and start chatting. That is not a short amount of time. We had been sitting in that spot for probably 30 or 40 minutes before Joe joined the chat, which means he was already there when we arrived. Either he had been there before us or he had followed us in. He had been in that bush for half an hour at least, watching us in the dark, waiting for the right moment to introduce himself. And when he finally did, it was through a chat room on a children's gaming device. Because he knew we had them, because he had watched us use them before. That is the part that does not let me go. We had been going to that spot for months, every week or two, sometimes more. We thought of it as our place. Just a bench between two storefronts where two kids would sit with their game systems and nobody bothered them. But someone else had noticed. Someone had seen us there enough times to know our routine, to know when to bring his own DS, to know we would be there that night. How many nights had he come and sat in that bush and just watched? How many times had we been 12 years old on a bench in the dark, not knowing that someone was hidden behind us in the shrubs, close enough to hear every word we said? We never found out who he was. The police report went nowhere as far as I know. The town strip still exists. Those benches are still there. My parents moved when I was in high school, and I have not been back to that neighborhood since. I thought about those three stories for a long time before deciding to record this. Seth on ChatRoulette, Nathan in his bedroom, me on that bench in the fall. Three different situations, three different ages, three completely different technologies, but the same shape underneath all of them. Someone on the other end of a screen who was closer than they should have been. Seth saw a man come out from behind a bed on a webcam feed and thought it might be a prank. Then a news article appeared and he stopped being able to think that. Nathan went looking for something and found something looking back. Found his own name in a place it should not have been before he ever arrived. And I sat on a bench with a friend while a man crouched in the dark 10 feet away and typed to us on a children's toy and smiled with too many gums and grabbed my shoulders and meant to do something that I will never know the full shape of because we ran fast enough. Three different technologies, all of them old enough now that most people have moved on to other things. But the person on the other end of a screen who is closer than they appear is not old technology. That part is not going anywhere. You are watching this on a screen right now. You probably have a camera somewhere within arm's reach. You might be alone. It is probably later than you plan to be awake. I am not trying to scare you. I am just saying that I was 12, sitting at a bench I had sat at 100 times before, and the scary thing was already there before I looked up. It was just waiting for me to turn around.